Hello, this is the Imperial Assault Hovertank, a LEGO Star Wars Rogue One buildable set. These two figures are billed as Imperial Hovertank pilots. They are identical in their builds, except one has a longer blaster than the other. I believe that in universe, folks who wear this sort of outfit would actually have multiple roles and not be limited to just hover tanks. But these are pretty cool looking, brand new molds for those helmets that look pretty good to me, and they have a pretty good level of printing detail on them. I think that the mold quality is better than the prints in this case, especially what they've got around kind of this almost faux visor looking thing. I'm not sure if in universe that would be able to come down, or if that just has sensors in it, or if it's just part of armor and actually would have some armor plating in it. I actually like the prints on the torsos better here, and each of these has just the old angry clone face underneath, which has only one side. Set also comes with Chirrut Îmwe, and I think this is a very, very well done figure with the prints, with the kind of paper cloth sash piece, and also the weapons. The weapons are built up with just a handful of pieces each, but they look nice. That is as close as I think you could get with LEGO to his kind of bowcaster blaster sort of thing. It actually would fold up in universe. These side parts would fold in, but I think this is pretty close. And I do like his staff here as well, which uses two of the relatively rare gunmetal gray lightsaber hilts, which is appropriate because I think in universe it looks like he may be using pieces of old lightsaber hilts that have been deactivated. He can hold his bow or whatever it is in a single hand. You can kind of bring it across the body as well, bring it up high enough in that one hand that you can kind of reach towards it with the other hand. It's not great. Of course, he doesn't need to sight it or anything since he does not have natural sight, but I really like the print on the front of that torso, and just also the print on the cloth piece there, and there's some print on the back which is partially obscured. With the adapter piece removed that's used to attach the secondary weapon, now you can see that, and he also does have a secondary face which is slightly smiling. The hover tank itself is a very purpose-driven utilitarian design, which obviously lends itself well to replication in LEGO because you can leave things fairly blocky and straightforward, but they did put some texture in this thing with, for instance, these fin elements on the front and the back, and these are interesting. They're just little sub-assemblies that just get pasted on with a couple of Technic bricks with pins on the ends. They also use these slotted bricks. They use some textured bricks. They use some grill pieces. These are panels here to give it some inset. Some different stuff brought in to give it some visual interest. I think that the in-universe thing isn't much more interesting looking than this. I do like the front part of it. The back is mostly just a big old cargo bed. It's like a pickup, a low-riding pickup of tanks. I don't fully understand the in-universe design. It must not be firing with lasers because those lasers are so close to the ground. You can only hit things that you can see, and that limits you. So it'll be interesting to see what type of projectiles. And I do expect them to be, charged mass projectiles that'll come off this thing, because these cannons can be rotated quite far up. So I'm assuming that those would work kind of artillery style. This LEGO model is able to shoot some projectiles. It has two spring-loaded shooters down under here. They're buried in there pretty far. You have to be pretty close to the ground to see them at all, but they're intended to show what firing would occur from these center cannons that are really, really close to the ground. You can remotely activate those by turning these gears. There's one on either side. You just turn that and it causes the projectile to come out. So the other one I won't stop. I'll just let it go. And where is it? There it is. That bounced a couple of times. Pretty effective, but again, it's pretty close to the ground. You're able to open this up in two ways. The entire front panel opens up. Kind of looks like this is supposed to be a hatch right here, but in order to allow us huge figures, us humans, to get in there, I'll let you open the entire thing. Plus, this top hatch opens. I think that in universe, it would just be the round part that opens. Just this part would flip up. But here, again, the whole thing just gives you better access to the interior. very little detail on the interior, maybe a little bit on the disappointing side there to me personally. You know, no printed anything, no stickered anything, not really any particular detail beyond just these red transparent tile pieces that are supposed to represent some sort of control, I think. And you can see through there a little bit. See, my fingers are going past the area that's just a little bit hollow. So not the greatest interior, but you know, it holds two folks. It's really what you need. So I can't really dock it much for that. The whole thing actually does sit just a little bit above the ground, and it's able to roll, interestingly enough. It rolls around and can kind of slide around because it is supposed to be a hover tank. It's supposed to be, you know, using fairly low energy, always on repulsor lifts to keep it up. And to simulate that, they have these clear wheels. So that's just how far off the ground it stays. It's like 2 millimeters, 2.5, something like that. Yeah, something like that. But you don't see most of the build. Even if you get really close to the ground, it's just hidden. But they just have just enough sticking down there to give it a little bit of ground clearance and allow it to move about, which is nice. A couple of clips on the side allow it to hold on to the weapons that go with your minifigures, and it also comes with a single cargo crate. You could use 2 of these, I think. Put one here, put one here. It's a shame they didn't include a second one with this set. This is a nice build itself. I like just this crate. It's very different, and they didn't use any special preformed pieces to create this design, and yet it's actually able to open and carry some stuff. This is a very clever little thing. I like it. Now, it doesn't carry very much, just a small blaster pistol and a pair of macros down there, but you know, it's something. Probably would have been a little bit of a, it might have been a spoiler to include anything more special inside of here, but I'm assuming that orange has some particular significance in Rogue One. We'll have to see. Oh, one thing I almost missed is that you can actually take one of these blasters and attach it to this little mount that sticks up there, so that can be a point defense gun. You can put a person behind there who will stand at pretty much its height, so that works out. But I think that probably in the real thing, if you would, you'd have the guy who's underneath here operating that, so he wouldn't be quite so exposed, but this is something that works for play. The Chirrut minifigure is by far the highlight of this set for me. Of the build of the hover tank itself, I think is fine. I think it's a good representation. Has plenty of play value in the sense that, you know, you've got things that you can move around, you can pretend to shoot with it, you can actually shoot with it, you can carry a couple of folks inside, you know, load and unload cargo on the back. You can also put troops on the back if you have additional figures. So I think that it accomplishes its goal perfectly fine. I'm just personally not a huge fan of the design of the thing in universe as a fighting vehicle. I see it as a very nice little cargo tug, but as a tank, I don't quite get it. Maybe seeing the movie will help to change my mind on that. But that's it for my thoughts on this one, and as always, I now turn it over to you, the viewer, to share what you think by leaving a comment on the video down below. Thanks in advance for your feedback, and I will talk to you again soon.